This PSA was brought to you by the Peter G Show.
You may have second thoughts after the show.
Don't drink the faucet. We're really talented. We should get Oscars.
Just pick out a car, for Christ's sake.
No, hi, my name is Peter.
Yeah, I want.
Here's good.
Yeah.
Adam Perry.
I need to get back in the genie bottle.
Louis from Pennsylvania, you're on. He likes it. It's showtime.
Peter G Show, Peter G Show, divorced dad, single dad, divorced dad, single dad, Peter G Show.
Well, showtime it is. Wednesday. Christmas is upon us. Christmas season. Every Wednesday, like clockwork. Welcome to Life with Peter G, the Peter G Show. 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. on the East Coast. Always God willing. Grateful to be here. Every day is a surprise, that's for sure, but I'm glad we made it once again. But it is Christmas season's full throttle. It's already now too late to turn back. But if you're with me, it's because you're supposed to be. Tonight we got a combo show. Normally, when we start getting close to Christmas, I definitely go and talk about the subject matter of getting through the holidays. There are some of us that walk in life that life is kind of hard. You know, they struggle with the holidays. I know a lot of people. My ex-wife used to struggle with the holidays. When I was dating her back in the day, God love her. I mean, even though we went through all the crap we went through, but back in the day, she would look at me and say, I just want to go to bed and pull the covers over my head. And I was always just like dumbfounded. I go, what do you mean? But you don't know what people are going through or have gone through to create that kind of emotion to make you want to say something like that. But I've learned a lot, and I do know why a lot. But there are many people that you have no clue they're even going through it. That's why at the end of the show, I always tell you to be kind. You don't know what people are going through. You just don't. And what we got here? Some early rise. Good. Peter G. Hey, Steve. Everybody, look at that. Tuning in early. I'm glad. Dan. Hope you enjoyed last week, Dan. I was talking to Steve after the show about you, but we'll get to that. Yeah, I'm glad you guys tuned in early. Don't be afraid to comment, people. If you're on the official Facebook Peter G Show page, you're watching live from the official page, you can comment from the Facebook official Peter G Show page. You can comment from the YouTube official Peter G Show page. And I believe if you're watching live from LinkedIn, which hardly anybody does, you can comment from the LinkedIn page too. The LinkedIn is more of an afterthought, people. But please feel free. Just like this. There you go. Pensacola in the house. What would I do without you, my brother? I love you. There you go. Pensacola. We're going to be talking a lot about Pensacola next year. I promise. But every year around this time, I may, here's the reason why I started talking about these things. Because, as some of the people who followed the show from all these years, and it's a lot of years now. I started this show because I started talking about people going through divorces and how it wrecks you, and you have children and trying to keep it together because the kids are like sponges and they don't deserve to get caught in the middle for things like that. And it really, really hit home because I was going through that. And the last thing I wanted was my daughter to get wrecked because of adult stupidity. Well, then as we got closer to the holidays, I mean, that all goes hand in hand. The holidays are tough because you're going through divorces and things like that. The kids are split up and you don't know how to handle it. And there's a he said, she said. And again, the few amicable divorces are far and few between. Most of the stuff, especially in the beginning at least, unfortunately gets nasty. It just sucks. And that's how this all started. But then as I grew, I realized there's many people with different kinds of problems. Some people are suffering. I wish it was that simple. Some people are suffering from alcoholism, can't see their way out. They just drown themselves. Some people have emotional issues. They have anxiety, depression, things like that. They can't, the same thing. It's unstoppable things that just overcome people. And I decided a few years down the road that we would call it Life with Peter G, The Peter G Show, because in the beginning, it was called The Peter G Show, the greatest divorce and single parenting dad, period. Because I was pretty good. I'm a pretty good dad. I mean, you'll have to ask her, but I'm a pretty good dad. There's better, I'm sure, but there's way worse. And then the show just expanded and we started talking about things, but especially around the holidays, people are, some people just don't have the holiday spirit. They mourn the loss of loved ones. Just things like that you get into your own funk and the holidays become crap to you and it's not easy. And that's when you have to be observant to the people and the friends. Like, I'm very blessed. I have a lot of people in my life that I can call friends, but I don't see them a whole lot. There's a lot, but the ones I am in contact with, that I see more than others, I try to keep my eyes open, see what's going on, because there's always somebody doing worse than you. It can always be worse, especially for me. And I started talking about the holidays because it's just people need to get things off their chest. You hold it in and you become a pressure cooker. And pressure cookers, although they work, they do have a tendency to explode. So every year about this time, I start talking about the holidays, the not so beautiful. We want to talk about the beautiful times. We'll talk about everything. But tonight, I'm going to start a little bit on getting through the holidays. Might even open up the phones if somebody wants to join and just tell me something, anything about the holidays. Maybe they've overcome the struggles. Maybe they want to tell me how great the holidays are. Maybe some people want to call in and say, I'm having an issue and I can't see my way out of it, but I'm glad I'm watching your show. Because I'm telling you, I've learned from doing this show, if it helps a handful of people that stumble upon it, and this goes for you guys that are watching as well, share this show. If you know somebody, back to the knowing people and keeping your eyes open, you'd be surprised how unknowingly you can help somebody by letting them know that they're not alone. And hey, check out this guy. He talks about, might help you out. Watch his show. It's only an hour and plus. I got to tell you, I was watching some clips because Facebook does some stuff in 2023. They were showing me like memories. That was pretty damn good. This time of year, she starts showing like some of my pieces of getting through the holidays. And I'm not bad. There's stuff that really makes a lot of sense. And really all it is common sense. But you'd be surprised how many people don't have it. And that's why there's all kinds of people in all walks of life, that some people specialize in this and some specialize in that. And I'm a little gifted in the fact that I observe and I can report, tell stories. Been there, done that, believe me. When it comes to ups and downs. Hi, my name is Peter. Why do you think I'm here? It's not because I got nothing better to do. I just felt like it was some way of doing something worth doing. What's Dan? Dan's got something going on here. It's like, if you can't stop arguing about how to divide assets, you end up paying $300 for a $30 for a $30 toaster. Makes no sense. Oh, family squabbles, you mean? Let me tell you, you know how many people I personally talk to that, like, a parent died, the parents die, and then there's, a lot of siblings, and they're all arguing over who did more and who didn't do enough and who was never there, and how they all hone in, to see what they can get. It's horrible. It's so sad. Suing each other. I've seen it all. This stuff crosses my path personally all the time. And I was an only child. I didn't have to argue with anybody. However, I had to do everything, or I didn't have to do anything. But I did everything I possibly could because I love my parents a lot. So I never had to argue with people. So there was a bright side to that, but there was times when I was ripping my hair out, ripping it out from 2,000 miles away, trying to manage certain situations because I had a little girl to raise, and she was in California, and my parents were in Florida, and I couldn't leave my daughter. I mean, I could, but it wasn't a wise choice. And the payoff has really been amazing. She's going to be 20 next week. And I can't say it enough. But the sacrifice was, there's some regrets. No matter how good you do, you just always wish you could have done better. Even though my parents understood, nobody ever complained. I did pretty good. From far away, and thanks to the help of a lot of people in my life, again, people in your life that came there. I used to see people when I'd go to visit in Florida, and I'd be there and I'd bump into somebody at a store. And they'd look at me and I go, "Hey, what's going on?" They go, "Hey, Peter." And they always like, "How's your mama doing?" This is true stories. Always. And I mean, the people I was looking at were like a mess too. I mean, like, they're not financially, doing too well. Their health is not good, but they look at me and they go, "Peter, man, you need," because they knew I'm in California. They go, because at the time, my mother was ill way before my father. My father didn't really get ill. He just died within 3 days. His fuel pump, just at 92 years old, said, "I've had enough." Some ways I'm grateful for that, because he would have been a horrible patient. He hated hospitals. But my mother was a slow decline, and people knew it, and because I've got so many people that I'm blessed with, and and they'd say, "Peter, man, if your mama needs anything, you let me know." And I'm going, "Oh, thank you. Thank you." And in my head, I'm going, "You better take care of yourself." But the grace is they were so graceful and saying, "If you need anything, regardless of how bad a shape I'm in, I still, whatever you need, man." And that says a lot. And I'm so grateful. But that's how all this stuff started. It started many, many years ago. And all I'm decided to do was to take it to a level to express it to you guys, because it's lessons worth a lifetime. So we're going to talk about that tonight, getting through the holidays, at least, those who struggle. But before we do that tonight, these things go hand in hand. I do have to talk about current situations of what's going on. I'm trying to bring information weekly, except for when I have guests, to you, depending on the guest, to you that are relevant to what's going on, because the confusion of the news is such a mind screw of bullshit that I need to bring to you things that are relevant to possibly help you understand a situation that they talk about, but it's so screwed up, you don't know who to believe. And I'm not telling you to believe what I'm going to bring to you, but it's a version of some common sense in reality that you might want to keep in your head, of some current things that are going on right now in the news that is keeping everybody well divided and well hated, even through the holiday season. And it sucks. But we're going to talk about some of that stuff tonight. And we're going to talk about the news stuff first tonight, and then get to the getting through the holidays on the last segment of the show, because that's deep. I want to talk about that stuff. But I want to blow through stuff that's very important too. Because everyday life, how you think about what's going on in our lives right now, is very important. And there's a lot of people that are kind of messed up, just my opinion, still love them, but they've got the blinders on, not willing to listen to anything but the stuff that's being shoved down their throat through media. And yeah, I guess I'm kind of like media, but I'm not shoving anything down your throat. I'm just going to give you some examples of some reality I think you might want to consider in some certain situations. And that's basically it. So that's what we're doing tonight. I hope you enjoyed last week's show. I know Dan did. Last week we had music legend Steve Porcaro on the show. And I got to tell you a little something. You know, I don't, again, because for those of you that know my history, music was my whole entire life up until 2012, basically. I had to change course because I had divorce forced me, or didn't force me. I chose certain things in life that were more important to me, like my daughter, and to be available to raise her than to be on the road. And I had to completely turn my life around, and it was not easy, especially as you get older. You're not 20 anymore. But things happen. That's what I'm saying. You got to make these changes. I just lost. I just completely lost my train of thought. Oh my God! I think I need more medication time. But the thing was, again, choices you make in life, and I just had to make those choices. But all good, and that's why I'm sitting here to this day, and it hasn't been easy, and it still isn't easy. But when I decide to do something, I mean, really decide, it's committed, a gazillion %. There's no turning back. I'll either get to where I'm going or die trying. And that's just the God's honest truth. But we started the show, and Steve Porcaro, again, music, that's where it's at. We have history. And with Steve, coming out with the new record, it gave me an opportunity to change up the show a little bit, bring him on. Let's talk some music. The guy's got history. Now, we could have gone for hours talking about all the different records. There's so many interviews he's on right now talking about a lot of various different things, but I interviewed him about his record because I wanted to talk to him about his record. But here's where I'm getting at. He was on about two and a half years ago on my show as well, just to catch up. We had a open conversation on the air. What I'm doing, what he's doing. Although some people disagreed with it, they wanted to hear the normal stuff. There's a million other places you can go find that. But I said it last time 2.5 years ago, and it happened again after the show last week. So the show's over. He's kind of hanging out still in the green room, so to speak. He's still online with me. So the show's over, and then finally, it's over. Thank you. Good night. And he's still there, and I bring him back up, and him and I are just having a face-to-face, one-on-one conversation. And the conversation, I swear, this happened 2.5 years ago, too. The conversations we have after the show are worth its weight in gold. Because this is okay, how you doing? How's your family? How's this going? We get into some deep stuff and funny stuff. But it's the stuff you can't talk about. It's like our very, very, very private stuff. But great conversation. And I looked at him, I go, this freaking conversation, I go, this is the shit I want on there. But, out of respect and all that, it's it's not really necessary, and probably it's worth more to me because we talk about stuff that we deeply know. But man, oh man, once again, same like 2.5 years ago or something like that, the conversation after the show was even better than the conversation during the show, in my opinion, because I could relate to it personally. It wasn't, general. Just saying. And I have that conversation a lot with my guests after the show's over. And it's pretty cool that these people confide enough. I mean, we talk just life, and then we get into the real nitty-gritty of the good, the bad, the ugly, the funny, the happy, the sad, His mother's getting up there in age too, and he's talking about her health and stuff like that. And it's like one day it's curtain call, and it sucks. And we talked about stuff like that, the hard stuff. But I do talk about a lot of that stuff on my show, but it just wasn't when we had him on the show last week. It was more about let's talk about your new record, rightfully so, because he's a great, musician, writer, and I wanted to get out what he's pushing right now because he's proud of it. He's finally finishing up things that he said has been sitting on his table for years. Either way, speaking of sitting on a table, I want to take a quick break, and then we're going to get into all the stuff I've told you about. But right now, we need to hear and want to hear from my good friends over at Clean Star Product for their money-saving fuel additive DX1 driver. Because let's face it, folks, it makes sense to save money because cars are expensive. Be right back.
Hello, it's Tyrone Thompson here with Clean Star Products, and we're here with William.
High-end car service.
And we've just serviced his Cadillac Escalade 2024. And we're going to be giving it a go to see what kind of results he'll be getting in his fuel mileage and any performance differences, and be checking with him later.
All right.
Thank you, William, for participating in our environmental program. We're here with High-End Car Services, my friend William, who's been using DX1 for a small time now. What kind of results have you been getting?
Up to 45.1 miles per gallon best results, and the engine has been quieter, and I can definitely feel the power in the engine. I have a diesel.
Thank you so much. We're going to keep going with the program and check in with you later. We appreciate you. The Long Life Engine Program with DX1 Driver is the only safe environmental product for your high mileage engine. DX1 is a non-toxic, clean-burning oil that goes into your fuel and your engine oil, providing lubricity for gasoline and diesel engines. You save on average 10% gasoline and 15% diesel fuel consumption. Call now for a price quote and place your order today. It's the Long Life Engine Program from Clean Star Products and Tyrone Thompson.
That's right. He says it right there, the Long Life Engine Program. And he's correct. Let's face it, folks. I got two words about that product. It works. I use it myself. I don't like spending $80,000 on a vehicle. I mean, they don't make them like they used to, especially. And it's easy. It's like this little bitty bottle right here. Right? Little bottle. You pour this into a fresh oil change, and it lasts the whole oil change, which on average is about 5,000 miles for an American car. Now, if you have a Bentley, it's 10,000 miles, I think. 10 or 12. And just pour it in the oil change, and it stays right there. Now, I don't have a Bentley, but I just know these things. Then every time you fill up your car with fuel, pour this little bottle into the gas tank, fill your car up with fuel, and drive. It couldn't be much simpler. You just drive. Easy breezy. I think you'll notice the difference probably in about 3 to 4 tankfuls of fuel with DX1 Driver, and also with the little additive into the crankcase for your oil. I did. I noticed the difference. But again, don't believe me. If you need, I wouldn't blame you. And I would definitely research. So what I would do if I were you, I would go to Clean Star Products, www.cleanstarproducts.com. There's tons of information right there. But the biggest thing is there's a phone number. I put it up there on the screen for you too, but there's a phone number, 310-200-8931. Call them. They want to talk to you personally. They'll answer all your questions because they're that confident in their product. They got a product that works. It's that simple. It's easy to talk the truth. It really is. It's just so easy. It just flows when you're talking truth. That goes with anything. They'll talk to you. And then after you talk to them, should you decide to order, this is where it's very important. First, you need to call them because they'll only do it if you call them. If you decide to order, they're going to send you 5 bottles for the price of 4 if you mention that you saw it on the Peter G Show. It's pretty simple. It's not a whole lot of effort. You call them, say, hey, I saw this on the Peter G Show. I want to know more about it. And if you decide to order, they will send you 5 bottles for the price of 4. Makes a great Christmas gift. Again, I can't stress enough how expensive cars are to own. So you might as well maintain it. You know, is it going to fly like a rocket? No, but is it going to make your engine last longer and, you know, more lubricity and get better fuel mileage and not make it work as hard with all the, you know, nowadays they don't make the tolerances as tight because they're trying to save gas. So they make everything looser, but it doesn't last. It just doesn't last. Call them, talk to them. If you think you might want to give it a shot, give it a shot. It won't hurt anything. Give it to a friend. Somebody's got a, you know, a high mileage vehicle, especially. That's where you really notice it. But just give them a call. You got nothing to lose. You really don't. But tell them you saw it on the Peter G Show. All right? There you go. I'm sure I'll be seeing Ty Thompson himself at the official Peter G Show corporate Christmas party this year. I think he's attending. I don't know. What we got here? Oh boy. So here's what we're gonna do. Let's get in that mood. Paul's already chomping at the bit. Paul, you are something else, buddy. Where am I? Yeah, where am I? I say that a lot. I notice that when I check out pieces of the show, it's like I'm always going, where am I? It's because I don't have somebody standing right beyond the camera anymore, cracking the whip. Ever since COVID, we've kind of gotten off that, and now it's just like I'm not wearing any pants. It's one of those kind of deals. I think before we get started, as always, I'm going to say what I was getting ready to say. Where am I again? Because I don't know where I am. All right. I'm right here. We're going to take a sip. I forgot what's next. And how can I forget this? Ye old sippy cup. This is how we officially get the show moving forward. Salute. The holiday season. Everybody be kind. I love you guys. Thank you. Especially the Facebook people. 70,000. 70,000 times 12 viewers, but there's 70 officially following the Facebook Peter G Show page. But the analytics say that there's 70,000 official followers, but there's 12 times more viewers. And I get it because I don't follow everything I watch either. I'm getting better at that. But please follow, subscribe. It would really help me out. I would appreciate it. More than 500,000 viewers just on Facebook alone, let alone the other 8 platforms. And then there's YouTube, who I'm struggling with because they hold me down. But you can sure help me out by subscribing, all right? It's free. It's easy. Salute. I love you. Sparkly again tonight. Smooth. That's what I say. What do you say, butthead?
Smooth.
Okay. So we officially crossed that line now. We're officially there. So as I said, I'm going to talk first about current events and things that are going on because I feel that we need to. Because there's things that just eat away at me at times that I think that they just need to be brought out into the open. And for the 14th millionth time, I'm not asking you or telling you to believe what I say. I'm just bringing things out to your attention. You decide, but I'm just glad you're here to see. I think that's very open. You know, that's what being open is. It's just like, okay, you know what? We don't agree on everything. That's cool, but I'll listen to you. I'll hear you out. Let's start off with, because this was like, you know, everybody was all up in a row when they shut down the government for all those weeks. They shut down the government. I know this is, that's always funny. Yeah, funny is good. I want to do a lot more funny, but we're living in some serious times. And so, you know, I try to mix it up a little bit. Let's all get along. Even when some people say, man, you were really getting frustrated at that. It's like, no, I'm just Greek. It's how we talk. Yelling. But, you know, when it's all over, it's like, that's it. It's like, you know, come on, people now. Epstein files. When they shut down the government, and then they're saying about the Epstein files, and then blah, blah, blah. I mean, there was all this stuff that they just throw and confuse the living hell out of the American public and the world. The media, they suck. And I blame it all on the people behind the scenes. Deep state bullshit. Same old stuff. But now everybody was in an uproar. Trump didn't want to release the files. And then he says, hey, okay, release them. Release them. But I kept telling everybody, because everybody wants the haters want to hate him and say, he's implicated. That's because he's implicated in the Epstein files. And there's been years where if they wanted to take him down, they could have taken him down because of the Epstein files, but nobody ever did. But now he finally said, okay. And everybody says, okay, we're finally going to see what we're going to see. And I looked at you a few weeks ago and said, don't get your hopes up. Here's Stephen A. Smith. I like him. He's a liberal or more of a Democrat, but he's very open to call out the Democrats because they've been screwing up for years now. They're not the Democratic Party that the Democratic Party used to be. Next week, I will really go into that on why I am no longer a Democrat. It's very common sense. It makes a whole lot of sense, but I will explain that next week. This week, Stephen A. Smith is going to talk about the Epstein files because everybody was like, okay, we're finally going to get to hear what's going on. It's, they think that it's like Trump holding all this stuff back. And if it was, I'd call him out on it too. Here, you listen to him because he's a little riled up. He gets way more riled up than I do.
Ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind that the Epstein files were in existence and free to have been opened during the Biden administration. You were there for 4 years. How come you didn't open it as a Democratic Party then? What am I missing? I'm not saying I know. It's a legitimate question. Maybe I don't remember the answer. Maybe my extraordinary producers should be able to help me during the commercial break. But from my understanding, the same files that were open or being open now with the 220 pages of documents or whatever it is, with various emails, that could have been done when Biden was in office. Well, why didn't you do it? If it's so important now. What were the Democrats doing at that particular moment in time? This is the kind of stuff that smells. Because my attitude is just deducing how much they despise Trump is if there was some real bona fide dirt on him, since you went after him with the 34 felony convictions, which essentially was deduced to him paying hush money to Stormy Daniels, a porn star, just so she wouldn't reveal their happenings with one another leading up to the election in 2016. Okay? If you had something like that you were willing to parade him through the streets with, of course, if you had something on him about Epstein, you'd have let it go earlier to make sure he didn't become the 47th president. That's just my thinking from a logical perspective. But what do I know?
Logic is good. Always said that. Love that common sense. Although there's some people that just refused. They just complete denial. They want to believe what they want to believe. So in that clip, Stephen A. Smith was talking about how they're opening up the files as if they're going to, talk about them. How many weeks has it been now? How many? Enough. Heard anything about it? Crickets. It just blows my mind how quickly people forget. Like, that was it. And unless the media is drilling it into your head, which they do a lot of that, programming you. Hate. The news can't thrive unless it's got all kinds of, uproar and unsteady. That's what they live on. So here we are. I hear nothing about the Epstein files, and I told you guys. I said, you're probably not going to hear much. Why? Because there's people that don't want it to come out, and it's not Trump. Here's a quick little, maybe this is a reality check. This just happening now, and This should open your eyes. It probably won't. Again, some people are in complete denial, but for educational purposes, whether you like it or not, this is what's going on and why we're not hearing about the Epstein files, and you're not going to. There you go. Enjoy.
So this is breaking right now. The Epstein files have been blocked once again. 3 federal judges just blocked the DOJ from releasing the Epstein grand jury files. And guess who these 3 people were? The first one was Richard Berman, a Clinton appointee. The second one, Paul Engelmeyer, an Obama appointee. And the third, Robin Rosenberg, yet again, another Obama appointee. But the one judge who approved to release the files, you ask? His name is Rodney Smith, and he's a Trump appointee. Do you not see the pattern here? When are you Democrats going to open your eyes and realize this has nothing to do with Trump? Your party does not want to release these files for a reason, and you guys have been real quiet about it. Wake up.
So the next time you're bitching about it, dig a little deeper and quit just listening to what they say on the news. Number one, like Stephen A. Smith said, all that stuff was available 5 years ago. While the Democrats were in power, they had every opportunity to lay it all out on the table. Why didn't they? Because they had nothing. They would have. They were desperate. They didn't want Trump to go run for president again. Again, they tried to nail him for having sex with a porn star. Whoop-de-doo. In reality, he paid her. The man's a billionaire. He can do whatever he wants. If somebody's willing to, to take money for whatever. But they have nothing on him. So they railroaded him with every stupid thing. They said he's a rapist. He raped some woman. Back in the early 90s, the woman, couldn't. It didn't make sense. Again, he's a billionaire. He can buy whatever he needs. And in a department store, really, you are that convoluted to where it's all really makes sense. Stupid stuff, just stupid stuff. They bent the rules. They did everything crooked because they're so scared of him winning the presidency, which he did, because a lot of people are tired of this baloney. I mean, right now, this next coming year, we the people, are getting tired and want results. We want to see a restart. Wipe the slate clean, whatever it takes. This is sickening, and we're tired of it. But this is the crap we got to go through. The he said, she said, and the lies on top of lies. They'll lie for anything, and people believe it. And I get that. The news media is so screwed up. They all need to be wiped out. The swamp cleared. Everybody, clean slate. Next year is going to be a lot of change for the better. Had to tear some stuff apart this year, but that's what it takes. But again, if you want to start blaming about the Epstein files, go talk to your Democratic judges and people over there, because they're the ones who on camera will say we want you to release the Epstein files, but then when they're off camera, it's like, don't you dare. And we voted for these people. They need to be voted out. They all need to go. They got to go. Next, I want to talk about the current, they're making all this big stink about blowing up these drug boats in the water. That, how dare Trump do this? Do you realize how many decades they've been talking about the war on drugs? You realize how many years every president has talked about the war on drugs, and not a damn thing has ever happened? And our children, your friends' children, die, OD. It was horrific with the fentanyl stuff. And Trump's actually doing what he said he's going to do. But all of a sudden he's a criminal, a war criminal. These people, these Democrats, again, they hate him so much, they got to keep you hating. But I'm going to play you a clip. Tape don't lie. Once again, tape don't lie of Joe Biden in the 90s saying the exact same thing that Trump is saying right now, except Trump is actually doing what he says. That means a lot. I'd like to think that for what little part I take in anything in my life, I mean what I say. If I say I'm going to do something in general, I'm going to do it. I'm good about that. Otherwise, I don't say nothing. But Trump's the president. He says enough is enough with all these drugs. It's killing our people. And, you know, they're focusing on America, flooding the nation with drugs. What better way to take down a country? With a gazillion illegal immigrants and drugs. And he stood by his word. But here you go. This is Joe Biden, in his own words, telling the exact same story that we are living in right now, except it's actually being done.
Why isn't it possible to just interdict them the way that we do with the Coast Guard, where you go and take the drugs and then put those people on trial and investigate and then follow the drugs to their source of origin and then take care of it there? Like, none of this makes any sense.
Actually, Rachel, it makes perfect sense why that won't work, because we've already tried that for decades and it failed miserably. Don't take my word for it. Ask your buddy Joe Biden.
Every president for the past 2 decades, Democrat and Republican alike, has declared war on drugs. And each of them has lost that war and lost it miserably. And we think we should go one step further. Let's go after the drug lords where they live, with an international strike force. There must be no safe haven for these narco-terrorists, and they must know it.
Wow, 1989 Biden sounds dangerously close to Trump. See, if Biden dropped that line today, Maddow would be calling it democracy's finest moment, and Trump would still somehow be blamed for the font it was written in.
Very soon we're going to start doing it on land too, because we know every route, we know every house, we know where they manufacture this crap.
And they do know all that stuff. And he will do it. And good for him, for us. But you heard it out of Joe Biden's mouth years ago, saying the same thing. They've never done anything because there's CIA and money and all this stuff that is way beyond you or I. And they just keep it going. It's the never ending, just like war. War is profitable. Just wanted to point that out, because now it's like they're getting all over Pete Hegseth and all this kind of stuff. It's like, it's all bullshit, folks. Let them do their job. Let them do their job. George Soros. You've heard that name. George Soros is so rich. He funds all these NGOs, everything to corrupt and try to ruin the United States. His money and his hands are in everything. He funds all these protests and everything to disrupt this nation. Why can't we stop him? Why can't we stop him? That's a really good question. I got a small video from Katie Passy. For those of you who may or may not remember if you watched the show, she's been on the show 2 or 3 times. In fact, she's getting a lot of recognition now. I heard her name mentioned on Alex Jones, and the president even recognized her. She's a smart girl. And I had her on when she was first starting out. I noticed it right off the bat. And I was the first show she was ever on. Not that it matters or makes any difference, but I mean, I've had that much confidence in her from 4 or 5 years ago. And she's still at it. And she gives a pretty good synopsis on why we can't stop George Soros, because he's a piece of crap. He's just so anti-American. He's trying to ruin this country. And his money goes to everything he can possibly do to help the downfall of the United States. So here's Kaidi, and she's going to explain why we can't get rid of George Soros, and it's pretty sad, but listen up, all right? Here you go.
I think I found the real reason George Soros is still allowed to operate freely inside the United States while he's been kicked out or heavily restricted in Russia, Hungary, Turkey, Pakistan, Poland, the Philippines, and a half dozen other countries. The answer is simple, and it's hiding in plain sight. George Soros has probably been one of the CIA's most valuable private assets for over 40 years. He's the civilian deniable billion-dollar funding arm of American regime change operations worldwide. That's why no attorney general, no Congress, and no president has ever seriously moved to shut him down here. He's not just allowed in America, he's protected. This is why both George and Alex are so arrogant. If you've seen my video on color revolutions, you already know the script. Soros bankrolled this prototype in Serbia in 2000, refined it in Georgia in 2003, Ukraine in 2004, and the Arab Spring in 2011. The same USAID, NED, and Open Society Foundation's logos appear in every single one. The Arab Spring was the trial run for Europe's migrant crisis. In 2011, the CIA and Soros turned that playbook on Libya and Syria. Gaddafi warned the West in March of 2011 that if you take him out, millions would flood Europe from Africa. 8 months later, he was dead, and Libya was chaos, and the migrant waves began exactly as he had predicted. By 2015-2016, battle-hardened jihadists and economic migrants were streaming across the Mediterranean with iPhones, prepaid cards, and Twitter guides written in Arabic, the same social media mobilization tactics used in Kyiv and Tahrir Square. Wayne Madsen called it straight in 2015. This was a deliberate Soros CIA social engineering operation to fracture Europe from within. Same playbook, new target. And now we have America, 2020 to present. Remember the 2020 summer riots? Soros Open Societies Foundations gave at least $33 million to the groups that organize and sustain them. How about the southern border caravans? Soros-backed NGOs provided the lawyers, the maps, and the logistics. How about defund the police and DAs in every major city? Soros money elected them. They're running the color revolution playbook on us now. Only this time, the target isn't Belgrade or Damascus, it's you. And this is why JFK was right. After the Bay of Pigs betrayal, President Kennedy reportedly told aides he wanted to splinter the CIA into 1,000 pieces and scatter it into the winds. He never got the chance. 62 years later, we're living in the world the CIA built. One where a Hungarian-born billionaire who collapsed the Bank of England can pour unlimited dark money into American elections and street movements, and nobody in power dares touch him. Because he's not a liability, he's their most successful off-the-books contractor. The only question left? If Hungary, a country of 9 million people, can pass Stop Soros laws and kick his operations out, why can't we? Maybe it's time we finish what JFK started.
Another good point. Another good point. And I think the key is the CIA. Those deep state organizations, they've all gone rogue. They secretly run everything. And all these presidents from the past and have all just said, we'll let you be president, but this is what you got to do. And they've done it. And it sucks. And then in comes Trump, and he's like, I don't think it's very good. And then they try to kill him. And so he knows how far he can push, but he's still trying to push because it's horrible what's happening to this country. But I think we got some deep, deep, deep problems, and it's not at the level of what we see on TV. It's everything you don't see in the bowels of the damn government. They're just running things, and they've been running things. I've known it for a long time, but it just sucks that it's being allowed. JFK, he knew, and what happened to him? Same thing. So everybody stays in line because they don't want that happening. Trump, he's not a politician. You can hate him what you want. I'm still willing to give him more of a chance than anybody who has put their name in the hat. That's just my opinion. Again, I respect whatever you think. I'm just bringing some things out for you to possibly take into account. And just let it simmer up there. You may need it later. And what would be, I couldn't do a show lately without talking about Bill Gates. One of the biggest pieces of crap that is hurting the population on this earth. I mean, it's beyond evil. But him, the WEF, the World Economics Forum, all these douchebags that are holier than thou, that feel they need to tell us what to do and how to live. And they're working on it, and they're trying, and they're getting close. We knock them back a few steps. They keep on going. They got lots of money. But here's Bill Gates and Klaus Schwab, or whatever the hell his name is, talking, and he's just kissing all over Bill Gates, on what's your newest project, Dr. Evil? How do you plan on telling everybody that you're going to depopulate the earth and feed them bugs, and they're going to die through jabs and other ways to make you go sooner than what you should, but it'll just look like the norm. It's sickening, but here he is. Just a little memory refresher. I'm really proud of you guys. I'm still getting at least 100 comments a day on how much you despise this man and how he needs to be gone. We need to all speak up and stay vocal, because again, when we the people stand together, that's why they're trying to divide us. When we the people stand together, we're unstoppable. They can't deny it. We're unstoppable. There's billions of us. There's only 4,000 or 5,000 of these assholes flying in their jets to Davos. They're whining and dining on the best meat they can get their hands on, and then telling us how we shouldn't have it. Telling us on how, useless eaters, some people need to go. There's too many people on this earth. Telling us what we should eat, manufactured, what do they call it? They're making fake chicken, fake meat, fake butter, fake this, fake that. It's wrong. And we need to speak out. If you don't speak out, you get what you get. And I get a lot of these people going, it's too late. It's not too late. If you're listening to this or watching this or commenting on stuff like that, you're still here. You still have a fighting chance. This was just such a self-righteous. I just had to play it. So enjoy, but it should get you a little bit flustered, because this is the bullshit. They live in their own bubble. No sense of real reality. Here you go.
What would you like to see as your legacy in 10, 15 years?
Of the new work?
Of the new work, yeah. Of your new function.
Well, I set very ambitious goals because I'm quite optimistic. If you look at, say, the 20 diseases that our global health program goes after, I'd hope that within 15 years, over half of those, we could have had a very dramatic impact. Some of them will prove to be harder than others. For example, AIDS, we will have made an improvement, but not the dramatic improvement probably in that time frame. Malaria, perhaps, and a number of the other ones, we have things in the pipeline. So, huge change in the mortality rates in developing countries, which then has this effect of reducing population growth. That's this big benefit that then makes everything like education and nutrition a lot easier. So I have very high expectations. So I think there's some things about how we go about things that I hope those learnings can have an impact. There's the specific work in the different divisions, health, development, and the U.S. education work, that in 15 years, boy, by then we will have spent a lot of money.
Thank you, Bill, for having brought to us this evening a very enlightened view of capitalism. I hope many will follow you We will facilitate it in any case, because that's the mission of the World Economic Forum. And I'm looking forward to, if I may say so, to welcome you back in your new incarnation next year.
Do you believe these people? They nonchalantly are talking on how to reduce the population without saying we want to reduce. Well, they do say it, actually. They do say it. And look, Anna's got the right idea. If you're still breathing, it's not too late to take a stand. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. I mean, do you have to wait until it's knocking on your door? But again, the one thing I got to say, out of all these years of me doing this show, because I get people that either love me or hate me, but the one thing I feel like both have come together is their agreement that Bill Gates is a piece of crap. The WEF, they all suck. We need to stop these people. And we can only do it because we don't have billions of dollars. But we can do it if we stand together and say, no, hell no. We've had enough. Because they've gone underground many times when we push back. But again, with COVID, they tried to see how obedient everybody locked in their houses. I think a lot of people learned a big lesson. I know I did. Fool me once. Shame on you. I ain't falling for that crap anymore. I kind of caught on, about a quarter of the way. But I got people that are dead serious, still going and getting the boosters. They're killing themselves. They don't know it yet, but they are. And I can't say nothing about it. They believe in it. It's just sad. I watch and I can't. I wish I could talk more about all of that, but YouTube will definitely have my ass, and I want to not get gone from there because I still think it's a good platform. I just wish they would get their act together and stop with the nonsense. But if you watch enough, Instagram's been really good about talking about that stuff, which is odd. And there's a lot of smart people that are bringing out the truth about what really went on during 2020 to 2023 and 24, 23, those 3 years to 2019, when they're pushing all that. And a lot of doctors and things like that were pushing back, but they were getting threatened. It's wrong. It's very wrong. It's all going to come out eventually. But how many people have to perish that are going to, even now, it's called slow kill. People got that? That stuff finds you. If there's anything underlying that, if let's say that someday, your life was meant to be like by time you're 79, you were going to come down with some form of something. Well, you're only 59 now. And all of a sudden, by the time you make it to 53, you came down with that something at 53 as opposed to 79. See, that's how this stuff works. It's a process of making it look like the norm, natural, like years later, beyond after the jab, but it's bringing on whatever health issues you may or may not have sooner. Therefore, well, you just came down with, the C word or something. It happens all the time. And then they make money off of treating you too. The hospitals, the doctors, they all, we could do this, we could do that, but there's no save. They're not really saving you. They're just making money. And then you eventually are over. 25 years before you probably should have gone, or 30 years before you should have gone. That's what this is all about. All part of Bill Gates and his solutions to help the planet. And they make it look like he's some philanthropist and all this kind of stuff. He's an evil piece of shit. And all the people he associates with, the Davos and Klaus Schwab and George Soros, all of them, that whole group needs to be rounded up and dropped off a cliff. It's that simple. The world would be a better place. That would really make the world a better place. That's just, my opinion. Stuff, it's so saddening. I mean, we should be, and we will be thriving. Things will be getting better, but the problem is, it's like what's done is done, and whatever's going to happen now in the long run of over this jab and all that kind of stuff, where that few that think it's the best thing, or mad at you for not taking it, for those who may survive it, they're just lucky because their bodies were just better than some. But it's taking people out, and we're going to be losing a lot more people a lot sooner, and we already have. You don't see the reports. They don't publish this stuff. The news doesn't talk about it, but it's out there. How many infants, babies, children, all that going for no reason. Talk to the parents. I want to go. I'm going to, again, almost every week touch on this because this is our new biggest threat right now. It blows my mind how many people think that digital ID is just like real ID, or the concept in everybody's head is, oh, what's the big deal? Everything is digital anyway. In other words, we're living in a digital world. It's not the same meaning. They put that title to fool you. But digital ID, and I'm going to have somebody explain it on one of these videos, but I got to keep pushing this because I'm so concerned that too many people don't have any concern over it, like it's no big deal. We're already digital. And I'm here to tell you it is a big deal, and it's got nothing to do with you having a digital this or a digital that. They're all separate entities. They want to group them all up to one. This girl's going to explain it all, and then we'll reiterate on that. How about that? Here you go. But this is very important, and you need to share this stuff to get the people you love and your friends and things like that to understand that we have to say and tell them they need to shove this stuff up, where the sun don't shine. This isn't going to fly. This is one of the many things we need to do, but this is important because this could affect everyone's livelihood, period. We'll be prisoners in an outside jail. It's crazy. There you go.
So people keep asking me, what's the big problem with digital ID? Everything's already digital for us. That's not what digital ID means. Digital ID doesn't mean everything will be online or digital. It means that everything that you have right now will be encompassed under one digital ID that is governed by one entity, and that it can be shut off whenever they wanted to. So I found this picture on the World Economic Forum. I've already done a video on this using this exact same picture, but I will try and explain it a little better. So if you look at this wheel, this is everything that they want to encompass under the digital ID. And the dangers of that is because that means they will override the authorities that already govern some of these separately. So for example, you have a driver's license that's being monitored by the Department of Transportation. So for example, if you get a speeding ticket, they can't just go and cut off your cell phone or cut off your bank account until you pay it. With digital IDs, they can do that. So same thing with healthcare, right? Right now you have a health card that is being governed by the Department of Health. Well, if this comes in, they will just bypass that. So what they want to encompass in all of this is healthcare. Financial services such as banks. You will not be able to get in your bank, use your money if you do not get digital ID. Food and sustainability. Somehow they think that, digital IDs will help farmers produce better. No, it's just going to monitor them. Travel and mobility. You will not be able to book or fly or anything without this, so that they can monitor exactly where you are at all times. Humanitarian response. They're saying that in case something happens, it'll be easier to find you. Bullshit. They're just wanting to monitor you at all times. E-commerce. You will not be able to sell, buy, or anything if you do not have this. Social media platforms. You will not be able to log on to social media, no more fake accounts, if you do not have this. E-government, taxes, voting, EI, all of those things you will not be able to actually get if you do not have this thing. Telecommunications, cell phones, same thing. Smart cities, and that's where it gets dangerous. I can do a completely separate thing on that, but it's complete control because it says it's pretty much going to siphon data and see your energy usage, your utility usage, and traffic congestion. Now, if you add CBDCs to that, meaning the digital currency, they have absolutely all control over everything. Everything that you do, buy, say, own, everything. That's the dangers of it. So right now, if you get a speeding ticket, they can't just cut off your cell phone. With digital ID, if you get a speeding ticket, they can cut off your cell phone. And then they can track and monitor you, and they can also add carbon credits to your life based on how you shop and how you do this. This is to control the populace and basically corral the sheep into behaving exactly how they want you to behave. Otherwise, they cut you off from the rest of the world. And we've seen the Canadian government do this during the trucker protest when they cut off bank accounts. Completely illegal. And they've done it again since. But I guess some of the liberal dummies didn't realize that.
You kind of get it? See the difference? Sure. We're living in a digital world, but if you didn't pay your speeding ticket or your parking ticket, they can just threaten you to pay, or maybe pull your registration, not renew your registration on your car. But they can't cut off your cell phone. They can't turn off your electricity at your house. They can't cut off your bank account. But if it was what they're trying to do with the so-called digital ID, all that is chain linked together, and they have full control over it. Turn you on, turn you off, starve you to death. If they want to make sure you get another jabberini and you say, I'm not taking that stuff, they go, okay, you don't take it. But we're cutting off your phone, cutting off your bank account, whatever they want to do. They could slowly just torture you, and pressure you into you'll have nothing. You're going to die anyway. That's medieval shit. Remember this. Pass that video around. You can watch this show on demand. After the show's over, you can find it on YouTube, on Facebook, on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, LinkedIn. A couple of more. Not to mention all the audio podcasts, but that's the difference. And you need to know the difference because they mislead you with the title, as they always do. Knowledge is power, people. And you need to turn on your friends, because if we don't all stick together on this stuff, people are going to go, oh, what's the big deal? And they're just going to go along with it. Then we have to fight that much harder because they're already starting to gain the power of some of the people. Like, once you give it up, you're never getting it back. Gone. You're under their thumb forever. So you have to prevent that. And I suggest we start now by explaining it, because that's the biggest problem. Nobody understands what it actually is, and they just feel like that's not that big a deal. And I beg to differ. It is a big deal. So please, pass it around, share it. If you want me to do more stuff on it, write me. I'll do more stuff on it next year, because this year is just about over. But I will keep reminding you. I'll do a whole show on the damn thing. There's so much to talk about on that, because it's that important, amongst the many other things. But I'm listening. I'll give you what you want if you feel you can, but take the ball and run with it. Don't just okay, you got that. Share your information. You're doing nobody a service if you've got friends that are just blind. We need everybody. We need everybody. Speaking of blind, hang on. The show makes me thirsty. It does. Oh. Hallelujah. Lastly, I know I get a lot of flack from this when I use this word or title, but it's the closest to the truth. Brainwashing. The person who might be seeing this will go on, well, you're the one who's brainwashed. And of course, because if you knew you were brainwashed, you wouldn't be brainwashed. That's the point. That's why they call it brainwashing. It's because they do it so well that you truly believe in what you're talking about. I truly believe in what I'm talking about how they do it. Never knew this, never believed in it. But over these past 5-10 years, I'm watching it. I sit back and I watch it every day. And there's a pretty good explanation on how they do it. I hope that you'll pay attention to this and realize that this is how it's being done. And keep your eyes open and be better than this. It's never too late to learn, to go, oh my God, you might be right. I mean, I caught on back in like 2014 or 15, and somebody else may catch on, yesterday. It's that important. I just didn't believe it because you go, why would they do that? Why would they do that? Because they don't care about you or me. This is understanding brainwash tactics and how the media and everybody is literally brainwashing the susceptible in this country, in the world too. Because I talk to people all over the world. And I got to tell you, they have really put the notion that the orange man is bad. That's what they believe in many parts of the world. He's crazy. I beg to differ. He's the sanest one of them all, but they want to paint it that way because he's screwing up their game. So here you go. This is brainwash tactics. Pay attention. Again, feel free to watch this stuff over and over until you really understand it, because once you see it, you'll never unsee it. And it's worth it. It's not crazy stuff. Here you go.
How do you know if you're in the middle of a psychological operation?
I would just assume 24/7 that we are. But let's go into the details. But
what are the signs that something is a psychological operation specifically?
So narrative sticking points. So matching narrative is number one. And matching narrative means that I'm hearing pretty much the same messaging from media outlets, celebrity influencers, which is number two, and authority. So people that are in a position of social authority, not like cops and lawyers, and judges, but people in social authority, like pop singers. And I won't say any names. Pop singers, the most popular pop singers, all saying the same shit on social media. That should terrify you to the deepest part of your core, that none of this is real, or none of this is what it seems like. And those are the first two. Number three is if you're seeing people silenced or ostracized for disagreeing with an idea. We saw this during the pandemic, like crazy. There were Harvard-educated medical doctors that were kicked off of social media, which is our greatest fear of human beings, is being ostracized socially. It's greater than death. This is why public speaking is rated higher by almost everybody than death. And it's not public speaking that we're afraid of. It's being out there and having a big idea and then getting rejected by a large crowd. That's what terrifies human beings. And you can leverage the shit out of that, especially when you can manufacture an artificial tribe on social media. So Harvard-educated doctors that disagreed with this mainstream narrative were getting banned. And the dude, I can't remember his name. I wish I could, but the dude who invented mRNA vaccines was on there and went against the narrative and got ostracized. The dude who invented this kind of vaccine, it's unbelievable. So and that step three, just remember in your mind that if an idea requires suppression to exist, it's a horrible idea and it's most likely a psyop. Good ideas don't need to suppress other people. Good ideas travel on their own. Good ideas spread on their own. It doesn't need suppression by itself.
That is true. Once again, if you're totally, convinced and you say, hey, this works, why would you have to suppress somebody else's thoughts if it's such a good thing? And that's what they did. I get pounded on. If anything that the YouTube gets me on is medical misinformation, they take that and they whip me hard for anytime I talk about just what I'm talking about now. They do. Because they were part of the whole plan, suppressing the truth. I told you, I had a naturopath doctor, Dr. Michael L. Johnson from the Midwest, mid-north west. And all we did was talk about natural remedies and things like that. And they got all their panties in a wad, and they pulled down the show the next day, and they suspended me for a week. Now I'm on probation till January. So if this show makes it through, otherwise I strike 2. Then I'll be on probation for another 6 months. And if you do it again, they completely wipe out your channel. I've managed to survive not losing my whole channel. But I have gotten pounded when I was innocently talking about the old Jabberinian when we were going through all that. Because we were curious. We're learning. I had professionals on here. The minute you say something, they just, you can't say that. Why? Because we don't want people to know that. Why? Because it's true. That's why. Hope these videos are worth something to you. Again, you can catch them on demand. You can watch the shows anytime you want if you need to refresh your memory. But keep that stuff in your mind. I don't play this stuff because I have nothing else better to do. I could just do a show totally based on nonsense, just for fun entertainment. But I feel that it's this important because we're around. And if we're not around, what good is having, a bunch of fun entertainment? People are kicking off due to all the stuff that they're trying to make us do. Okay, so I promised you that that we're going to talk about getting through the holidays, and that's what we're going to do for a few minutes. I had a question for you. If I opened up the phone lines, would I get a call or two of anybody wanting to talk about the holidays, whether it's talking about their struggles with the holidays or telling me anything about the holidays or anything? Anybody who's actually watching on the official pages that can comment, should I bother even opening up the phone lines? I mean, are you willing to tell me something about the holidays that, you've had some trouble through the holidays? Maybe you've gotten better, with things. It's important. I feel it's so important that people share stories, which I don't get enough of nowadays. I used to back in the early show days. Again, I blame myself for getting off of the phone kick, and now trying to restart it up, having people call in all the time is really difficult. Everybody's waiting for somebody else to call in. But I think it's so important that you, the viewer, call in and share a story that people can relate to. And that's the problem. Most people don't call in because they don't think their story is worth telling. But I beg to differ. Because you underestimate your story because it's you and you've lived it and you go, it's not that big a deal. You'd be surprised how sharing your story, somebody out there happens to be listening to this and goes, wow, if I didn't know better, he was talking about me or she was talking about me, whatever. Because it's very common. It's very common. But I'm not going to open up the phones unless I get somebody to say, yeah, I'd call in. Because the holidays are tough for a lot of people. It's sad. I mean, I've been through the ups and downs. I've had holidays by myself. Many of them. In the 34 years of California. Because I was far away from family. Had friends, but sometimes, didn't always come home for the holidays. To me, it didn't matter when I came home, so long as I came home. That was always been my philosophy and still is, actually. Yes, the holidays are great, but if any opportunity, to be or see somebody or my family or this and that, yes, the holidays are great, but any opportunity is a great opportunity. Just like I say the same thing with birthdays. Yes, little extra celebration. You made it another trip around the sun, but every day is a big plus, not just your birthday. Be happy for every day, because there's a lot of people that didn't make it. Late last night, I ended up looking on Facebook, and I saw somebody else who I wasn't real close to, but him and his wife were close to my daughter when she was little. And his wife passed away back in 2011. Or was it 5? No, she was 11. Either way. So he was a widower, and he wasn't that old. And he passed away, and I'm seeing this stuff, and it just saddens me. I don't like seeing people, especially before their time. But it happens. So that's why I say make the best out of your life every day. If you make it to another birthday, great. Celebrate a little bit extra. But, these people having their birthday month and all that, it's like, yeah, that's great, but every single day, celebrate your life every day. Doesn't have to be full of balloons and, cakes and this and that, but I am so grateful when I wake up. I am. Sometimes I tell myself, and sometimes I just forget, but I am. So the holidays roll around, and some people, it just casts a heavy shadow, because the holidays amplify whatever it is you're going through, and then you become your worst victim. You just amplify it on yourself. I've loss of a child, which is, I can't even imagine. I mean, there's no, even though you say, wow, I can imagine, you can't even imagine. And even if you could imagine it, it's something that can wreck you if you're not a strong enough person. It can ruin you if you let it. And I know these people. This happens all the time, unfortunately. And then they got to go through a holiday without that certain person. Anna, focus on the true meaning of the season. Be thankful for life and family. That's my point. Yes. Anna, very, very good name. I like that name. And you can spell it backwards. But yeah, we forget. Moving so quickly. Everybody's hustle, bustle, hurry up, this and that. I'm a little of both. I'm trying to level it all out, but I got a lot of things to try to move out of the way and get to. And but there's a huge part of me that does respect and appreciate the fact that there's plenty of people my age that aren't here anymore that were my friends. And then it's the holidays on top of it. And who dies during the holidays, passes away, and whose parents, parents, I mean, you hope that's the natural thing, that your parents get to live old enough. And even though it hurts, at least you can justify it a little bit. Still hurts, though. God knows, I bet, raise your hand if you can tell me how old your deceased parent would have been right now should they still been alive. Show of hands. Your mother or your father. How old would they have been now if they were still alive? I guarantee you, at least 80% of you know right off the bat. And the reason I know is because I watch Facebook and I see that people going, happy birthday to my mother in heaven, who would have been 93, whatever. My mother would have been 103, which sounds astronomical. But I wanted her to be 150. Just the way we're wired. It's love. And some people don't make it. They don't live a long life. Some is self-induced. Some is just bad luck. I don't think anybody walked out the door thinking they were never going to come home. I don't know what's worse. Dying of an illness or just disappearing one day by accident. Sucks. All of it sucks. But the holidays adds on top of that. And I think it really, that have we not talked about these things, it's like, I think, what was it? Even Tony Green, when she was on the show a couple of weeks ago, she said, you have to look at the holidays. Okay, yes, it's supposed to be a joyous occasion. I'm not going to turn on the phones. Next week, for sure. Next week, I'll give 30 minutes to the phones next week. Promise, on getting through the holidays. I'll give you, and if we're going strong, I'll go longer, but I will dedicate it. But I guess I'm just setting this all up because I'm going to talk about this one more time next week because it's important, because you don't realize, I guess maybe because I do this show, or maybe because I talk to a lot of people, because I know a lot of people, but I'm a good observer, and you see it. I watch the Facebooks and the people going through, just depression and all that. And like Tony Green said a few weeks ago, it's only one day. I know we make a lot of emphasis on Christmas. We make a lot of emphasis on Thanksgiving because it's all family and love oriented. And I get it. I totally get it. Because it is. But it's not but one day out of the year. Everybody goes through all this for that one day. You need to have that love every day, almost like celebrating your birthday, the same thing. It's just, vacation. I say this a lot too, and I'll continue for all the newbies. People go on vacation and they say, God, I can't wait. I'm going on vacation. I can't wait till I go on vacation. I'm about to, I'm going crazy. I need to go on vacation. Okay, you're going on vacation. How long are you going on vacation for? 1 week? 2 weeks? Let's say you got a month. You've accumulated and you're going for a month and you're going to a different country and whatever. That's awesome because vacations are expensive. However, if you come back to the same shit that you're in, that you left before you went on vacation, how many days is it going to take before you're thinking the same old stuff? Here I am again, drowning, doing stuff and living in a life that I'm not happy with. You need to be happy all the time. And I'm not going to shift off from generalizing about the holidays because I'm really talking about the people. Let's see what Dan's got to say. Where I live where people go on vacation. That's a good gig if you can afford it. Vacation's awesome. I want to live on permanent vacation. I just can't. Actually, I wouldn't. I like doing this. But that's the way I'm wired. I don't want to be doing nothing all the time. I like mixing it up. I think when I was touring, that was hard. But I just told my daughter yesterday, I said, I got paid to go to some of the greatest places in the world. And some were quick and some were extended stay on tropical islands due to flights or scheduling and this and that. That was the way I always knew that from a kid too. I said music and touring and all that, at a certain level, that's the way I want to see the world. Some people will go into the Navy to see the world. It's not just a job, it's an adventure. But I wanted to do it through music. And, you get off the plane, people are happy to see you. They love music, It was pleasure. They're excited. But again, for your average person, being happy is so important. Being happy at what you do and the life you're in 24/7, because a vacation is a very quick Band-Aid. I don't know how these people can go and come back. Yeah, maybe you'll come back recharged or refreshed. I don't know. I don't. I come back more tired from vacation. I don't know why. Always doing stuff. But if you come back and if you're not happy with your life back at your home base, you just, maybe you gave yourself a 2-week break, but you got another 50 weeks left in the year. Then what? And I'd rather have the happiness at home and 2 weeks of aggravation in my life than 52 weeks of aggravation for 2 weeks of pleasure or so-called pleasure. Traveling's aggravating anyway. The planes, the luggage, the this, the that. That's where I earned my money when I was traveling. The travel was the bitch. 5 a.m. lobby calls, got to drive an hour and a half to the airport, catch an international flight. You're flying all night or day or whatever. You get in, and I couldn't sleep on planes. That's where I earned my money. I can't sleep. I had friends that they knock out. I'm staring at the bulkhead, bored to death, and the clock is ticking so slow. I remember the red eyes drive me crazy. Even with drugs, we tried the Ambiens and all this stuff. It didn't work for me. It just made me kind of drowsy and pissed me off even more. But anyway, the holidays. We're going to talk. I will. There was so much news. I just want to bring some informative, educational videos for you to take into your consideration about our current situations, because that's what's really important, the here and now. We are in the here and now. And you need to be on top of things and not what CNN or ABC or NBC and all these news stations are saying. I'm bringing Anna in one more time because this just reminded me of something. Finding contentment is allowing Jesus into your heart and life. Now, I've had Pastor Ray on every year. I talk about this. I say twice a night during my show, God willing. So it's fair enough to say that I'm a believer. However, I got to tell you that during the comments of the Bill Gates stuff, when I get two kinds of comments from people. I get some people that say that we need to take him out, and they really say how they want to do it. You know, they really just say it. Or you get people citing revelations, and Jesus is coming. Now, I'm all for Jesus coming, but if you're going to sit around and wait for Jesus to come until something gets done about this piece of crap human being who is ruining the planet and hurting people, in my opinion, I think that's kind of foolish too. And I'll go back to the one quote that was given to me by this Jewish woman many years ago. Again, I've said it many times, and I say it a lot because I say these things a lot because it couldn't make more sense. And she said, God helps those who help themselves. So in other words, yes, the second coming or, the end of days. And I get a lot of that. I get these people who are putting verses on my comments. God bless you. I'm glad you're a believer. I think it builds accountability. I think that's good. However, sitting on your ass and just sending quotes, and we got to get vocal, folks. We have to put effort. You know, when I was growing up in the South, on the downtown area, on the weekend nights, if you were leaving a club or a bar or something like that, on the corners used to be these Bible thumpers. I don't know whether they're Jehovah's Witnesses or I don't remember what they were or whatever. But they'd be on the corners at 2:00 in the morning trying to get your attention, holding their Bibles in the air and yelling at the top of their lungs from the street corner, trying to save you. I beg to differ. I think that there should have been a better approach than, I think it was a little more like you're pushing me. They were pushing me more away because if that's, it just I didn't feel the quality in that. I know their hearts were in the right place and they felt they were doing something good, but it really isn't. But I do believe that having a belief is good for you, and because everybody needs accountability. But sitting and just waiting until Jesus comes to fix things, like a lot of people say, Bill Gates is wait till he meets his maker. It's like, he could be around another 25, 30 years, and we're going to wait for Jesus or God to take care of him 30 years from now? How much more damage is he going to do? I'm starting to get riled up. Hold on. Because you're saying, yeah, God will take care of him. It's like, when? In the meantime, Shouldn't we be trying to do something instead of waiting? Because if we wait another year, whatever he's still plotting and doing and spraying and everything, mRNA injected mosquitoes and all this kind of stuff. We're letting him get away with more and more stuff that may or may not affect you. And it may. And your family and your friends and your population and your children and your children's children. So all I'm saying is, I'm glad you guys, everybody needs a little Jesus in them. But we also need to make an effort. We need to stand together. We need to, and a lot of people going, talking about it's not going to do anything. Talking about it raises awareness, rounding the troops. Because when we get loud enough, they start paying attention and start going, they're on to us. And they're getting loud. What do they say when the natives are restless? You decide. You decide. All right, folks. I love you guys. I truly do. Again, I apologize. I was going to do more about and take calls for the holidays. We'll do it next week. Next week's my last week being able to do that, because then we are going to spend Christmas Eve together too. I think that's going to be really nice. However, I felt it very important to bring this stuff to your attention, but we need to get out of here. I thank everyone for watching. Life of Peter G, The Peter G Show. Remember, every Wednesday like clockwork, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. on the East Coast. And I'll say it again, God willing. Still here. And share these shows. Please, please, please subscribe. Hit the follow buttons. I need your help. We're doing really well, but we can't just sit back. If you're watching the show, if you've watched the show, if you're watching the short clips, do me a solid. It doesn't hurt. It's free. It takes 1 second to hit the follow button or the subscribe button or all the above. Go to 2 different platforms and do it if you think I'm worthy of. You're more than welcome to write me. info@petergshow.com. Tell me what you think. Give me some ideas. Tell me what you want me to talk about. I get people that do that. If you feel you're worthy of coming on to the show for some reason, tell me why. Next year, we'll be booking a whole lot more people. We'll be at it again. This year's pretty much over with when it comes to that, but we're taking notes. All the above, but I do appreciate all of you. I know it takes a lot of effort. And don't forget, for those of you who are, can't watch the show, the full show, you can Google Peter G Show Podcast. It's the audio version. We're on 25 different platforms, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it. All the big ones, 26 of them. You can put an earbud in your ear and you can listen to the show audibly. It's the next best thing to watching the show. Although I do love that you watch the show. It's awesome. I'm so proud of you guys. We've come a long way. And it's been a long, hard way. It's been a long, hard one. See, another great one. Thank you. I really would like you to call in next week. I want to talk to you. You've been around. You come on before the show starts, and you stay till the end. And I feel like I want to give you some props, but I want to talk to you. I want to know who you are. I appreciate you. It all starts with people like you that maybe you saw me, maybe you didn't, maybe you don't understand me, but you gave me a shot. And somehow, way, shape, or form, you go out of your way and you show up. And showing up is part of the whole thing. Putting in the work is another. That's where I come in. I put in the work. So hopefully you'll show up. So thank you, Steve. I'll see you next week on Facebook. Be well. I love you, Dan. Dan's a veteran show viewer. I mean, we have a few things in common musically for the people we've known, and he's a Toto fan and things like that, but he doesn't have to show up for these shows. I don't know how many years he's been around, but Dan's been around. He disappeared on me a little bit, but like many, they all come back. But again, you don't have to watch me. Life's full of choices. But you did. And even the people who disagree with me, if you're watching this, it's because you're supposed to be here. Even if you don't like me or think you don't like me, for some strange reason, you were meant to be here to listen to me, to whether you like me or not. Maybe you'll come around. Maybe you never will. But I don't dislike you. I give you credit for at least having the guts enough to see it through. And it's that simple. All right. Next week, again, getting through the holidays, I will open up the phones and we will spend a lot more time on that. But there's so much news going on weekly. I'm just trying to debunk a lot of stuff to give you people some peace of mind as to what the reality is. Whether you think it is or not, that's another story. But I think that there's a lot there that we need to, just take the lid off and really expose what the truth is. So I'm trying to do my part. All right. Again, my name is Peter G. I want to thank you. I love you guys. I truly, truly do. I can't say it enough for watching Life of Peter G, The Peter G Show, right here every Wednesday like clockwork, or you can catch all the shows on demand. They're all up there. Afterwards, there's over 400 shows, but you're here right now, or you're watching whenever you're watching, and I love you for it. So everybody be kind. It's the holidays. Remember, you don't know what other people are going through. Think before you speak. If they're coming at you, barking at you for whatever the reason being or whatever, but just hang in there. And you don't have to take a bunch of crap from people, but you don't have to, be an ass either. Just be kind, especially during the season, which is somewhat harder for many. Okay? That's it. My name is Peter G. As you all know, thank you for giving me the privilege of being here each and every week and for watching more than anything. I love you for it. Peace out.
Peter G Show, Peter G Show, divorced dad, single dad, divorced dad, single dad, Peter G Show.